Hi, it's MJ. So we are going to talk about spirituality. What even is it? Does anyone know? Nobody knows. So spirituality is a big world. I mean, we've got like the religion stuff, we've got the new age stuff, we've got astrology, I would argue astrology is maybe a little bit more of a science, but we've got, a lot of it. And I think we can't talk about spirituality unless we talk about science first, because science is a language that we use to describe the modern world, as our friend Joe Dispenza says. But it is such a beautiful thing because anything that we know to be truth can be scientifically explained. So we know we don't have an equation for gravity, but we know it to be true because you can drop a pencil 100 times and it will fall to the ground. So that's observational, and we know that to be true, like the pencil will fall, so there must be this force called gravity. And then there are other things like physics where we can predict the motion of an object by how fast it's going and how heavy it is, how far it's going to go. So science is beautiful and it is not spiritual because science is based on epistemological truth. It's what we can see and what we can measure, and that is the truth. Like, you can measure that my heart is beating because you can, take my blood pressure, you can check my pulse, or you can check my HRV, all these different measurable variables based on my heart, and then come up with some sort of like sciencey truth about my heart. But you can't measure how much I love my dog. We don't have a measurement for love. And I love using love as an example because everybody loves love. Everybody has something or someone that they have loved at some point in time in their life, even the Grinch. So love is not proved by science. There are people that, want to bring it down to just like, oh, it's your dopamine, it's your serotonin all together with oxytocin, and that creates a relationship. But we know that we can do things with a certain person and have those, hormones going on and those neurotransmitters going on and not necessarily feel in love. So love, I would argue, is, metaphysical. It's beyond the physical. It's before the physical. It's something that we don't have an equation for. And I think this unknown is the spiritual. Like, I think anything where we don't know, like we can't argue that it's truth and we don't have an equation for it. So another good example is like philosophy arguments, which is metaphysics is a form of philosophy. So the common kind of argument we'll see in maybe ethics or, some form of philosophy like that is, are humans inherently good or are they inherently bad? And people can argue that day and night, but we actually don't know the truth. So there's no scientific explanation for humans' inherent morality. So we can believe whichever choice we want to believe in life. Like, you can argue that humans are inherently good because that's your belief, or you can argue that humans are inherently bad and that's your belief. And that brings us to spirituality and how amazing it is, because historically, or even now, what spirituality is your ability to choose the narrative you want to choose about the unknown. So we've got this crazy thing called death, which we're all going to do at some point, and you can choose whatever you want to believe will happen when we die. Period. That's it. No one can tell you that your belief is wrong because no one knows. So if you want to say, when I die, I become an old oak tree, great. Like, that's cool. If you say you go to heaven, like, that's also cool. If you say you're reincarnated, guess what? Also cool, because no one knows. So that's what I love about spirituality. I think if you've got like a religion that you put your spirituality, like your religion is your spirituality, amazing. Like, go with it, flow with it. There's a lot of us who didn't grow up with religion, or we didn't feel connected to the religion we grew up with. So we're left in this very weird space where we know we want to be spiritual, and we know we have a spiritual life, and we want to feel that spiritual purpose, but we don't even know where to start. So that's where this video comes in. I'm going to explain to you how to develop your spiritual life. Okay, so let's start with the goal of spirituality. Like why would we want to be spiritual? I think that there are a lot of people on this planet who are not spiritual, and that's fine. I think that there are a lot of people on this planet that are not spiritual and they feel like something's kind of missing. So if you're in the latter category, keep watching, because I'm going to talk about why we want to be spiritual. And I think it comes down to feeling connected to yourself, feeling connected to your community, and feeling connected to the universe. That's kind of it. I mean, you can take that universe word and you can sub it out for like God, Mother Nature, Gaia, Allah, whatever word you want to use, but that's it. It's just about connection and it's about purpose. Those are kind of the two things. Obviously, we can have connection and we can have purpose without spirituality, but if you're the person where you feel like you have this deep soul and you feel like you have a spirit and you feel like you need to express it, then maybe living a more spiritual life might be the answer for you. Again, no wrong answers to any of this. If you're an atheist and you're watching this video and you're like, this video is stupid, guess what? You're right, because that's your belief. No big deal. So, how do we live a spiritual life that helps us feel aligned, that helps us feel connected to our community and connected to source energy? I will tell you, it's very easy. I mean, the short answer is it's different for everybody. So everybody's got their own spiritual truth and their own spiritual path, and that's part of being an evolved human being, is developing what's right for you. And again, that might be the religion you grew up with. There's no wrong there. It just, you have to be able to connect. And if you feel like you can't connect, then maybe you need to branch out and design something yourself. And that's the beautiful thing about spirituality that I mentioned before. There's no wrong answers. It's only what makes you feel good and you feel spiritual. So I like to call this DIY spirituality. And it kind of goes like this. There's only a few steps. I would say 3. There's 3 steps. So the first is decide what the higher power is for you. And I just mean pick a word. Like some people, Mother Nature, some people, God, some people, higher power. But whatever word resonates for you, pick a word. Humans use language, use it, and write that word down. That's step 1. Simple. You picked something. The second thing you need to do is pick what that word is like. I'll take God, for example. For some people, God is an old man in a chair, and he is all loving, all kind. He's watching you and he's being like, oh, good, doing such a good job. For some people, God is an old man in a chair and he's like judging you and judging what you're doing, and he'll punish you if you do anything bad. That's our choice. For some people, God is like this omniscient, beautiful, unknown source energy that is in me, that's in you watching this video, that's in my dog, that's in everything. I mean, that's kind of more my God. That's what I think God is. It's just this unknown, beautiful source. It's the reason why trees grow. It's the reason why flowers blossom. It's the reason why bees just know to make a hexagon shape and dance to communicate with each other. It's just this like beautiful intelligence behind everything. Okay, I'm getting carried away because that's like my version of spirituality. But you need to feel that excited about it, because I'm that excited about the God that I've created in my head. I have no idea if that's the truth or not, but it just gets me excited because I'm like, wow, so elegant that my version of God has created this human body and your human body, and they're so innately intelligent. Like, how does it know that when I just like my taste buds sense that I'm tasting protein, that it will send information to my small intestine to create the enzyme that will help me digest protein? Like, it's so beautiful. I digress. So that was the second step, is to get really passionate and riled up about your version of a higher power or God or whatever, but design it, like write it all out, journal it, like this is who it is and this is what they're like. Like your God could be a sandwich. Your higher power could be a golden retriever that is in the sky that watches you, and that would be a great one. I highly suggest someone choose that one. Okay, so the last and final step is you're going to want to create a ritual to connect to that source energy, higher power, whatever, that you can do every day. And the purpose of the ritual is to make you feel aligned, getting aligned with source energy, getting in line with your community. So what does that mean? That usually means that you're going to think about your resentments or the people around you, and you're going to feel very forgiving and loving towards them. I mean, that's what it means for me. And then you're also going to feel like you're a part of this planet, like you're a part of the universe. You're not just like this unknown being feeling like, oh, like I can see how everyone else like is fitting into it, but I can't see how I'm fitting into it. No, after this ritual, you want to feel like you're filled with purpose, like you are a part of this planet, like you're here to bring good things to the world. And that's the goal of spirituality. Like you just want to feel like you're so aligned with source, and source is bringing you love so that you can pass love around to other people. That's kind of it. I mean, love is obviously like a big one for me. It doesn't have to be that for you, but that's the purpose of spirituality, is you're channeling something and you're bringing it to the planet. That's what we're here to do, I think. And if that resonates with you, then I highly suggest getting a ritual down that you can do every day that can connect you spiritually. It will honestly change your life. You do that every day for a year, you will look back after 365 days or 364, and you will be like, what? My life is completely different. Okay, so your ritual can be as complicated or as simple as you need it to be, because again, the best thing about this is that it's whatever works for you. So some people's ritual might be like a quick prayer before bed. Boom, channeled, connected to God, connected to community, doing all the spiritual things. Some people might do a 30-minute meditation when they wake up. Some people might do breath work. Some people might do a Peloton ride to a certain song and just cry, not speaking from this experience. Some people might masturbate. There's like 1,000 different things that you can do to connect to source. It doesn't all have to be like anything that you've heard about in the new age world, or it doesn't have to be, you don't even have to buy anything. Like I think a lot of us, sometimes when we get into spirituality, like we start buying crystals and we start buying tarot and like room sprays and all this stuff. You don't need it. I mean, you can get it if you want to, if it makes you feel connected to source, by all means buy it, but you do not need to buy a single thing to be connected to, I would say God, but whatever. So when creating your ritual, I always advise that it doesn't have to be something that feels like work. Make it something fun. I definitely had mine for a while. I would just go into the shower and I would sing Pocahontas in the shower. And then after my shower, I would give myself a very relaxing oil massage with a beautiful oil. And that's how I started Earth Oil, my company. I started massaging myself with oil and I was like, this is really nice. And then added probiotics. But anyways, that's a story for another day. But yeah, you want to create a ritual that makes you feel in the present moment and makes you feel really good. Like it doesn't have to feel like more work, because then you're probably not going to do it. Connecting to source energy should feel good. And yeah, no shame in the masturbation game. If I said orgasm and your ears kind of perked up, 100% that can be yours. There's like a whole, religion that's based on that, and that's valid. Pleasure is important. So make sure it's something fun. Make sure you want to do it every day. It could be 5 minutes, could be 1 minute, could be 20 minutes, whatever. But just make sure that when you're done doing it, you're like, damn, I'm riveted. I am filled with purpose and I'm connected to source energy. Obviously, it doesn't have to have the insane energy that I have every day, but just like a little bit better. And I promise you, you will go about your day with an entirely different attitude. Everything will be different because your whole energy field will be different. People will react to you differently. Opportunities will come that are different, and you won't feel so frustrated or feel like you're not in control of your life, because you'll have realized that like, oh, I have a choice. Like there's this infinite space around me and things that I don't know because they're not science. I don't know the future. I don't know what that person's thinking. I don't know how this job opportunity is going to work out. And you get to project onto it whatever you want based on your spiritual beliefs. And that's the beauty of spirituality. Okay, I'm going to stop ranting. I love you guys. Don't forget to subscribe.